things that really helps to convince people of the millions of years is that chart of the geological column, where you see the rock layers, and then you've got the timeline on the side with the millions of years, and then you've got the bottom-dwelling sea creatures, and then fish, and amphibians, and reptiles, and dinosaurs, and birds, and mammals, and people. How did that geological column get developed? It was back in the late 18th and early 19th century. They started to use the fossils, certain fossils called index fossils, to date a rock layer. Oh, well, that rock layer is this old because we know that the rock layers that have those fossils are this old. Well, you might ask, how'd they know how old the fossils were? Good question. They didn't. They were making assumptions about the history of life. That assumption is just invalid.
Remember this? The geologic column. You were probably taught in school that each layer represents a different period of time and was deposited over millions of years. In reality, each layer is simply showing the order of how things were buried. Both land and sea creatures alike are found throughout the geologic column. Sea creatures are found from the lowest to the highest layers, and even on top of mountains. In fact, 75% of the Earth's land surface is made up of sedimentary layers, which are rock layers that are formed in water. Geologists also confess that the world is riddled with massively eroded features, like the Grand Canyon in America, the Blyde River Canyon in South Africa, and the Kapiti Valley in Australia. And yet, they still refuse to acknowledge a worldwide flood. Remember those prophetic verses in Peter? There shall come in the last days scoffers, who are willingly ignorant, that the earth, being overflowed with water, perished. 2,000 years ago, Peter warned us this rejection of truth would happen.
Fossils are actually not the evidence of the history of life, it's the evidence of the death of all life during Noah's flood and how those things got buried. There are sea creatures all the way through the rock record, and we find sea creatures on the tops of all of our highest mountains. There are sea creatures on the tops of the Himalayas, the Alps, the Andes, the Rockies. How'd they get up there? Creatures that don't have any hard parts, fossil worms, fossil animal manure. That's not going to be fossilized slowly over hundreds or thousands of years. Those are some of the biblical and scientific reasons why we shouldn't accept those millions of years.
Genesis, Paradise Lost.